The São Francisco River or Rio São Francisco is a river in Brazil, with a length of 2,914 kilometers. It is the longest river that runs entirely in Brazilian territory, and the fourth longest in South America and overall in Brazil. It used to be known as the Opara by the indigenous people before colonization, and is today also known as Velho Chico. The São Francisco originates in the Canastra mountain range in the central western part of the state of Minas Gerais. It runs generally north in the states of Minas Gerais and Bahia, behind the coastal range, draining an area of over 630,000 square kilometers, before turning east to form the border between Bahia on the right bank and the states of Pernambuco and Alagoas on the left one. After that, it forms the boundary between the states of Alagoas and Sergipe and washes into the Atlantic Ocean, in addition to the 5 states which the São Francisco directly traverses or borders. Its drainage basin also includes tributaries from the state of Goiás and the Federal District. It is an important river for Brazil, called the River of National Integration, because it unites diverse climes and regions of the country, in particular the southeast with the northeast. It is navigable between the cities of Opara and Juazeiro, as well as between Paranas and the mouth on the ocean, but traditional passenger navigation has all but disappeared in recent years due to changes in the river flow. Name: the river is named for St. Francis of Assisi, from its first discovery by Europeans on his feast day in 1501. History: the Italian explorer Amerigo Vespucci first sighted the river on the 4th of October 1501. In 1865, the British explorer and diplomat Richard Francis Burton was transferred to Santos in Brazil. He explored the Central Highlands, canoeing down the São Francisco River from its source to the Falls of Paulo Afonso. Sections: the course of the river, running through 5 states, may be divided into 4 sections, as follows. The high part, from its source to Opara in Minas Gerais. The upper middle part, from Opara, where the navigable part begins, up to Remanso and the Sobradinho Dam. The lower middle part, from the Sobradinho Dam to Paulo Afonso, also in Bahia, and ending at the Itaparica Dam. The low part, from Paulo Afonso to the river's mouth on the Atlantic Ocean. Tributaries: the river obtains water from 168 rivers and streams, of which 90 are on the right bank and 78 on the left bank. The main tributaries are Paraopeba River, Abaete River, Das Velhas River, Jequité River, Paracatu River, Urucuia River, Verde Grande River, Corinina River, Corrente River, Grande River. Navigability: the São Francisco is naturally navigable all through the year between Opara and the twin cities of Petrolina and Juazeiro, a length of 1,371 kilometers. However, there are large variations in depth depending on the rainfall. Because of the diversity of physical characteristics over the course of the navigable stretch, it may be divided into 3 substretches, as follows: from Opara to Pilau Arcado, a length of 1,015 kilometers. Differences in height up to 6 meters may occur due to rains and drought. From Pilau Arcado to the Sobradinho Dam, the latter's reservoir is 314 kilometers long, with a surface area of 4,214 square kilometers and a comfortable depth. For the Sobradinho Dam to Petrolina, Juazeiro, with a length of 42 kilometers and an average depth of 2 meters, sustained by a flow of 1,500 cubic meters per second. Until recent years, the São Francisco was regularly navigated by a type of passenger boat called gaiola. These were paddle-wheel steamboats, some of them having been Mississippi River boats and dating from the time of the American Civil War. After the Sobradinho Dam was built in Bahia, the conditions of navigability were altered considerably, since the reservoir's large size allowed for the formation of short waves of considerable height. Although the dam has a navigation lock, the waves and currents made traversing the lake difficult for the gaiolas. At the same time, deforestation and excessive agricultural use of the upper course waters of the São Francisco and its tributaries greatly reduced the water flow in the middle course, creating sandbanks and islands that hindered navigation. In a short time, conditions were such that navigation became impossible for the large gaiolas, although still possible for smaller boats. The shells of those old riverboats can still be seen on the river at Opara. As of 2009, a single boat, the Benjamin Guimarães, remains in activity, making short-distance tourist cruises from Opara to São Romeo and back. Fish. Approximately 180 fish species are known from the São Francisco River basin. About 10% of these are threatened and about 13% are important in fisheries. Among the species in the river basin are many endemics, including Conaranchos, Conirostris, Pygocentris paraya, and Salmonus franciscanus. Dams and pollution present a problem to the species in the river, and fish mass deaths have been recorded. Towns and population. The area crossed by the river is vast and sparsely populated, but several towns lie on the river. Beginning in Minas Gerais, the river passes by Opara, São Francisco, Januária, Bom Jesus da Lapa, the twin cities of Petrolina and Juazeiro, and Paulo Afonso. The hinterland is arid and underpopulated, so most of the towns are small and isolated. Only Petrolina and Juazeiro have grown into medium-sized cities and have become prosperous because of fruit production based on irrigation. Hydroelectric dams. The river's hydroelectric potential started being harnessed in 1955, when the Paulo Afonso Dam was built between Bahia and Alagoas. The Paulo Afonso plant now provides electric power for the whole of northeastern Brazil. 4 other large hydroelectric plants were later built. Três Marias in Minas Gerais, built in 1961, Sobradinho in Bahia, built in 1977, Luiz Gonzaga, between Bahia and Pernambuco, in 1988, and the Zingo near Paranas in 1994. The Sobradinho Reservoir is one of the largest artificial lakes in the world, with an area of 4,214 square kilometers. The section of dramatic canyons between the Paulo Afonso and Zingo dams, including part of the Zingo Reservoir, is protected by the 26,736 hectares Rio São Francisco Natural Monument. Cultural significance. The São Francisco has great importance in history and particularly in folklore. That history is celebrated in song, legend and souvenirs based on the carancas, a kind of gargoyle placed on the prow of the gaiola boats and intended to scare away river demons from the boat. Tourist shops far from the river have modernized replicas and miniatures of the vanishing originals. The stories of river demons and monsters persist today. From Paulo Afonso to the historic town of Penedo, the river lies at the bottom of a gorgeous steep-sided valley. Paranas, a nearby town, was once the terminus of a railroad. The town has a number of abandoned historical buildings from that period. They have been restored and are emerging as a tourist attraction. Controversial diversion project. In 2005, the Brazilian government proposed a controversial water diversion project that will bring water from the river to semi-arid areas of 4 Brazilian states. Environmentalists argue that the project will do more harm than good, benefiting only large landowners and a very small population, while bringing considerable ecological impact. The government insists that the project will give the people in the 4 states so much needed water supply. The diversion project intake point is located at Cabrobo.